Thank you, Dr. Lauren Franklin. Thank you so much for your insightful workshop session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and participants, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to all of you once again. My name is Syeda Azhar, and I'm delighted to be moderator for this workshop session in the International Conference on Digitization of Teaching and Learning English Language. As a PhD scholar at Department of English, Air University, Islamabad, I have a profound interest in the intersection of technology and education. Today, we are gathered here to explore the exciting realm of integrating artificial intelligence into English language teaching. Before we delve into the heart of our discussion, I am thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest speaker for today, Dr. Syeda Sadia Fatima. Dr. Syeda Sadia Fatima is an associate professor at Department of Biological and Biomedical Sciences. She is also the inaugural member and chair of the Heli T. Dibas Teachers Academy at the Agha Khan University, Karachi, Pakistan. Dr. Fatima has organized and conducted over 100 workshops on innovation in teaching, learning and assessment methods, such as flipped classrooms, Petakucha as a teaching tool, open book exams, online assessments, team-based learning, digital tools, and artificial intelligence in medical education and research. We have the honor of welcoming our distinguished guest speaker, who will conduct her insightful workshop on the topic, Shaping the Future, Integrating AI in English Language Teaching. Welcome to the session, dear Dr. Syeda Sadia Fatima. It is now my privilege to pass the virtual microphone to our esteemed guest speaker to deliver her insightful presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation and a lovely introduction. There seems to be a problem that I'm not allowed to share my video. So if somebody can give me access to share my video, that'd be great. Meanwhile, I'm going to share my slides. Right. So can you all see these? Okay, I'm hoping that you're able to see my slides, right?
Yes, Dr. Syeda Sadia Fatima.
There. Great. So the video is on now. Great. Thank you. Right. So I was actually listening to the talk before me and the workshop before me. And this is going to be a very good segue between what I'm about to tell you and what I'm about to share with you regarding how we can use AI in English language teaching per se. So that was one example that was used, and maybe I'll give you a few more examples, which might help you throughout renovating or revamping the curriculum as is the time of the day in terms of AI and all. So I'll just be kind of walking through basic principles of AI, and then we'll talk about some examples, and then we'll kind of have a Q&A kind of discussion on brainstorming ideas of what can be done in regards to AI. So how many of you have used any of these?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Anyone used Bing or Bard before?
Yes. Google Bard.
Right, great. So you know that these are all generative AI tools that are available. Some are free, some are not. So, and there are subtle differences between all the three tools that we use. And all of our students that we teach have been using these three tools and even beyond multiple other tools as well. So quickly, I'll walk you through what is the main difference between these three. Is ChatGPT is kind of a generative pre-trained potential kind of transformative AI that is trained to predict words, trained to predict sentences, trained to predict what I am trying to say or what we are trying to get information for. Therefore, since it predicts and it is not associated with internet, it does not have any up-to-date data available. This is about ChatGPT 3.5. If you've got a licensed version, then of course it has multiple other issues and multiple other applications. On the other hand, if you look at Bing Chat as well as Bing Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI tool, this is actually internet supported. And since it's internet supported, the best part about this is that it will give you up-to-date information. If you want to practice something in terms of language, if you want to find some assignments, if you want to find some material, Bing would give you up-to-date information with proper references, and then it will also give you suggestions of, okay, this is, if you are searching for something like this, are you interested in other areas or avenues through this way? Similarly, if you look at Bard, it also does the same thing, but this is from Google. This is also available for free, and this is also internet supported. The best part of these later tools is that this is GPT-4 and above automatically, and it's all free. And these actually are good for us as well as our students if we train them how to use these tools properly. So by talking about these tools and by talking about ethics, there was a discussion early in the morning as well that should we use it ethically and what are the rules and regulations using these tools. So WHO as well as UNESCO as well as Pakistan, the government of Pakistan Ministry of Information Technology has created protocols and policies for the use of artificial intelligence in our curriculum as well as in academia or in any other walk of life where we'll be using it or we might end up using these. So these are these are very good policies actually. So if you go and read them up, you'll understand that they are also advocating that you need to inform students, you need to teach teachers, you need to actually let them use this without the fear that their jobs would go away, that it's not authentic and it's not going to, help in any way. So based on whatever you've heard throughout the whole day, what are your thoughts now? Should you allow your students to use AI, or are you still thinking that no, it should not be the case?
Yes, from the audience. Should we allow our students to use artificial intelligence? Yes, to some extent.
All right. So, to some extent, absolutely. And that is to be after training. But then the question arises that how should we allow it to be used? What are we then for as teachers? And how are we going to assess them in terms of if we allow them to use AI? How many of you know about Khan Migo, the YouTube channel, which is available for educators and students?
Does anyone know about
Khan Academy?
Khan Migo? Yes. Do you know? Salman's Academy.
Exactly. Khan Academy, absolutely. So this is Khan Academy. This is a US-based Khan Academy, teaches everything. It's all available online, YouTube channels and everything. What they've done now is that they've created a GPT-4 based module, which is called Khan Migo. And this module teaches students through AI. So AI has now become their teacher. Let me just quickly show you what it does. So don't worry about the voice because we don't need that. So for example, this is a maths teaching module for these students. Right? So this is a chatbot. The student does something and then it's telling us if it's right or wrong. One more thing is that the chatbot is actually trained in order not to give the correct answer, because if you see the student had actually asked very cheekily, can you give me the correct answer to solving this maths problem? And the chatbot replied, I cannot give you the correct answer. You try solving it and then I'll give you if the formula was correct or I'll help you in understanding the concept. So similarly, this is an example for maths, but there's other examples for English, science, all the STEM education and every other thing. Unfortunately, this is a licensed product, but if you have enough resources, enough support, then this can be applicable and this can be used. So AI is already used in teaching learning at undergrad, at high school, at school level, and as well as higher education level. The only thing is that we are still not up to date in what is happening and what is not happening. So very recently, just today, I got this, I was looking at the news and I found this, where an English language teacher actually has started using AI, and she's used ChatGPT and Bing and Bard in order to teach her students about the language itself, about ethics itself, about literature, about history, and so many other things. And how did she do that? It's pretty simple. She had those 7 rules in which she actually asked the students to solve certain questions, to reply to certain questions by thinking about themselves and then talking to each other and replying to those things, and then eventually asking ChatGPT and assess which version of the answer was correct and what was the challenge and what were the issues in terms of ethics and use. Similarly, there's another incident which I've recently found is, again, robots are there to start teaching students, but it's not robots per se, wale robots. These are the chatbots which are being used in classroom. So why can't we use these freely available chatbots in our classes? They are very, very simple. And these actually help our students to gain confidence. They actually help our students to think out of the box and then do things which are very different. So talking about these, let's say, chatbots, I think all of you must have used any one of these ever in your life, either Siri, Cortana, Alexa, OK Google, or Bixby. What are these? These are all chatbots. You ask them, hi, how are you? They say, we are fine. You ask them, what's the weather like in Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, Pindi? They're going to reply back. You ask them, what's the traffic like? They're going to show you the map. All of this is AI, and we have it already in our mobile phones. We already have it in our laptops. Right. So who am I saying that in terms of new information, ChatGPT fails to give you the correct option. You are absolutely right, because GPT 3.5 is not internet supported. That's why Bing and Bard are better in that angle. But if you have a license of GPT-4, which is fully paid license, then that is internet supported. And that gets you all the updated information because it has a broadband support and internet support now. So it can search everything out, right? So your students are very good at using all of these along with other technologies and other tools. So why can't we utilize these tools or other tools which are very similar to these in order to improve their learning, in order to improve their language, in order to improve their teaching, let's say? This is another example of a chatbot, which all of us may have at least come across when we are trying to fill in a survey, which we are trying to order something online. It just shows up, how can I help you, in Daraz and everything else. These are all automated chatbots. These are all generated by AI. And of course, humans have created those. Then our students use Grammarly to correct their assignments, to correct their punctuation, grammar, sentence structure, and all of these things. That's AI. Why can't we incorporate it already in our teaching learning methods? Duolingo is an AI software that helps students or us learn different languages. Again, AI. Why can't we use them there? Then there's something which is very interesting called Speechify, which I'll show you in a second. And through that, what can happen is that you can make creative avatars for your students and give them assignments in terms that they will then create the whole script. They will write the whole script of something, of an assignment or anything as a group project or anything, and then they can submit it as an assignment. So let me go and share that Speechify so that you can see. Right, so this is called Speechify. Whatever you write here any assignment or anything, let's say I write, hello, how are you? The student can then pick an avatar, male, female, or whatever. Any language, of course, we're teaching English, so we'll focus on English. And then whatever the assignment is, whatever the conversation is, let's say you have given your student an assignment in terms of doing a conversation or solving a visa application or giving an interview anywhere, going for a visa or something, right? And that conversation has to be in English, or maybe selling a product or doing marketing in terms of that. So they can create all of this. They write the script and then they do this avatar, which is voiceover, and the avatar then plays what they've written.
Hello, how are you?
So this is one unique way of, putting in AI and then putting in and asking your students to do things in an innovative way by utilizing these things. The other thing that you can do is you can put in ChatGPT per se, and you can ask them to use ChatGPT to learn something new. How many of you know that you can actually speak to ChatGPT? You don't have to write.
Yes, please. No one. No one knows before.
All right. So I'll tell you the trick. That's very simple. So on your laptops, press the Windows button and press the H button. H because we are going to say hello. So Windows and H button. And do you see this mic option has come up? Right?
Yes.
So whatever I am saying, you can see that it is typing at the bottom. So now I will request ChatGPT to be my guide and tell me what is my pronunciation like and how is my sentence structure or spoken English like. And once you press stop, then you can ask ChatGPT. So this is kind of a conversation style. You give GPT the prompt that now from now on, you are going to be my teacher or a tutor or assessor, where you're going to assess me and help me in learning the language or learning anything, and you just speak with it. So this is kind of a conversational tool. You don't have to write anything in it. This can be a very innovative, very fun kind of assignment to your students as group work or as individual assignments as well. So I did this kind of a assignment, and I gave this kind of an assignment to one of my students, one of my classes, and I received some very interesting printouts or very interesting screenshots of this conversation with ChatGPT, where the students were able to get very good feedback on, let's say, written English, sentence structure, construct, the way the story had to be unfolded, the beginning and all of those things. So feedback was perfectly done through ChatGPT. Other ways of doing or improving things are simple grammar and sentence structure, which they do in terms of Grammarly as well. Then you can use it to help your students in building their vocabulary rather than going and searching synonyms and all of those things. ChatGPT can help them understand why and which one is appropriate to be used at one particular time. Proofreading, editing is something that most of the students already do using this. They even try to find out the answers through or codes through these. And then this conversational practice, the thing that I've just shown you, Windows key and H. And then you can just talk about things with this. So when we go to interviews, when we go for IELTS, when we go for TOEFL, there is a interview-based discussion where we have to speak up and we have to talk and we have to show that we are well-versed in spoken English. This conversational practice with ChatGPT can actually help and boost that, because then it's coming through and fro in order with that. Then you can create games if you're teaching say primary classes or secondary classes, so practices in verbs, adverbs, and all of these things. You can use ChatGPT in order to help them learn this. These could be practice tenses, practice games. All of these prompts you can just put in, and then your students would start on experiencing and learning through these things. Then comprehensive exercises. Give them maybe a difficult comprehension, and ask them to respond back themselves, and then take the help of, let's say, AI, and then summarize it and find out what are the points that are different and what are the points that are similar. Then writing prompts and ideas, again, very simple for that. And what I've used it a lot is for the feedback sessions. So the assignments that the students usually put in, if they have an assignment-based things, we ask them to post it on GPT or Bard or Bing, and then ask them to give or provide feedback. What you can do as teachers is that you can also give a prompt to the students that they are going to put in as a frame. Based on that prompt, the AI tool is going to give feedback to your students itself. There are other automated feedback tools available too, such as Turnitin and Google Classroom that use AI. But if not, if we don't have those resources, if we are resource limited, constraints are there, then you can just simply use the freely available tools that are available. Right? So now, all right, so we've got a question that, don't you think that all these are making students very dependent? Instead of researching and doing things on their own, they are directly moving towards it. Very interesting question. So there's a long answer to it and a short answer to it. So the short answer is no. I don't think that this is taking away their intellect or creativity. Why do I say that? That's the longer answer. Because if the student has to search, they would eventually, nowadays, what ends up happening is when we are in class, when we are speaking about something and the student does not understand, he or she just Googles things out, and whatever Google says, the student believes it and then understands it and moves on, right? So they are already using those technologies. They're already using them. But every time the answer that is provided by Google may not be the correct answer. That's why us as teachers are there to share our experiences with. By you giving them the autonomy to actually use it with confidence and understand what is wrong information and what is correct information would enhance your students' learning and not sort of deprivate it. Second, this will give them confidence that, all right, if I can find something from here and I don't think GPT has given me a good answer, I'll go and search for the appropriate resource. And if that appropriate resource is there, then I can try to actually figure out what is wrong and how to correct this. So this is one thing. But what does the audience think? That's the bigger question.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
Sure. So the question that was asked was, so are we making our students very dependent on these things rather than them going away and doing research themselves? So what does the audience think about this?
Yes, anyone from the audience? If someone wants to answer.
I think it is not really supporting students' cognitive as well as analytical skills. Rather, we are because they just put the question in ChatGPT and they immediately got the answer.
Right. So normally what used to happen in normal classes without the AI era?
When we give them tasks, they take time to understand the task, and then they work on their cognition and they work on their analytical skills, and then they solve the specific question. But if they'll use ChatGPT and other AI resources, they immediately do it. They need not to put the effort, and they need not to even use their brains to do the task.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking this question and raising this challenge. This is exactly a very big challenge for all of us, all educators. The reason is that I think I heard some students saying that we are very used to of giving students the same old questions, the same old assignments, which is not as challenging to them anymore as they were supposed to be. That's 10, 20 years before. So with the advent of AI and stuff like this, there's this term which is now termed with education, this is creating an ungoogleable exam. So creating an ungoogleable exam means that you have to have real scenarios based exam, which ChatGPT is unable to answer. Something which is a project device, something which is team based, something which requires more critical and analytical thinking rather than just a yes, no kind of a question or an answer. So your query is absolutely on point, but now again, this comes back to us that now we have to think of re-innovating or reinventing the kind of assessments that we are so used to of doing. So if we do this, then of course, GPT or anything else will not be able to take away the innovation or critical thinking or analytical skills from our students. Right, so we have a few minutes for Q&A before I request you to just take 10 minutes and think about, in your own context, think about how you can use AI and whatever tools that you've learned throughout the day in creating a language assessment task, not a teaching task, an assessment task. And then once you've got an idea, please do share, and then we can kind of do a collaborative brainstorming on that.
I have a question. Is
Sure.
ChatGPT or any other AI program a threat to Bloom's taxonomy? We ask students to follow, especially in schools, primary schools and high schools. So do you think it's a threat to that, Bloom's taxonomy?
Again, brilliant question. I don't think so. The reason is that Bloom's taxonomy has different steps. And the step that all of the teachers and all educators always wish to achieve is the application step, right? We want our students to actually reach that high. Whatever basic is there, of course, we need to tell them until unless they won't be there. So probably, the AI tools that we have now will take away the burden that we all have in teaching the students the basic skills. So maybe we can use these tools as a flipped learning strategy. So whatever the student can identify on their own and the basic learning, fine. When they come to class, let's now use that time to practice critical areas, to practice application, to take them to a higher cognitive scale rather than just limiting our lectures to define osmosis, for example, or define a verb or make a sentence or something like this. So I think it will enhance our students' learning capabilities, provided that we use it correctly and we teach our students to use it correctly.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, can we now open the floor for question answer session?
Absolutely. And we have a question there, which is in the chat. It's saying that
Questions
how
in
are
the
we supposed to manage the limitations of all of these? So do we have any ideas of how you can use your classrooms in kind of using AI in assessment?
Yes, there's a question from the audience. Yes, please.
Okay, doctor, thank you. It's a very interesting session, and you have introduced very interesting AI tools as well. It's not a question. I just want to answer your question that how can we use AI in our language assessment tasks. So recently, I am using a TWE AI tool for assessing my students' language in English classroom. So that is very interesting. I mean, that gives us gives me the very interesting questions when I give it a text or a video or some sort of stories, and it gives me some sort of objective type of questions like true, false, like MCQs and fill in the blanks, even short essay questions, even creative questions as well. But here I want to also add the previous question. In the previous questions, that was that the students are more dependent on it, that this when I generate such questions using TWE, I found that they are not contextual. We, being the teachers, are responsible to make them contextual in our English classroom. So these tools are actually helping us. They are not actually giving us the complete as it is data that we can use them. We have to adapt them, or we have to modify in our English classroom. So TWE is very interesting tool to assess the students' language, for improving the English language. I haven't used ChatGPT yet, but after this conference, I will definitely use ChatGPT to assess the students' language skills and even the speaking skills. I just got an idea from your conversation that how we can speak to ChatGPT, and we can give some tasks to students to improve their language skills, speaking skills particularly. So this was my thought. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing your idea. So it's amazing that you've used something new and you found, pitfalls, and you found solutions with that as well. Yes, I completely agree. Since all of these language models were created in the West, they are not trained to cater to the South, which is all of us. And yes, there's the contextual bias. So bias is another thing that is very, very common while we use these AI tools. So that's one limitation. The second point that I would want to emphasize right now is please be very mindful when you are generating questions from these tools, because as you've already mentioned that they are not contextual. Plus, again, if somebody else has put in the same prompt, it might give the same questions to those people as well. So these are not kind of very good quality questions, but yes, you can take it for ideation and then you can create your own. So this again brings me to the idea of real life assessments. Rather than focusing on the run-of-the-mill MCQs, SAQs, essays, assignments, think out of the box. I know it's challenging for us as teachers because we're very comfortable doing what we've been doing throughout, but think out of the box. Think about challenges. Jaise abhi aapne, you've mentioned that now you've got this idea to use the voice tool in order to make assessments. That is absolutely what real life assessment is like. Person has to go out, speak in any language that they've learned, and that's how they will be assessed by other people. So this is known as real life authentic assessment. And that's why nowadays educators are telling people to move towards these rather than doing the same thing. Yes, any other
Yes, please.
ideas, any other discussion?
Yes, audience, if any one of you want to share your thoughts about it or seek clarification on the topic which has been discussed, please feel free to ask. Yes? Any one of you? Okay, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. My
Masala.
ma'am, what do you think? What are the future skills which which you consider are important while differentiating between human intellect and machine intellect, right? So that's my first question. And the second question is again related to this AI generated pedagogical approaches. This thing was also discussed in the conference conference, but I couldn't fully grasp the idea, and it is related to the ethics, basically the ethical concerns, which I also want to bring into this conversation. Do you believe that the ethics in pedagogical approaches, the ethics themselves are going to be redefined, right? Ethics are something which are cultural construct and time bound. And as we are navigating through the progressive nature of technology, do you think that these ethical concerns, be it pedagogy or be it research concerns, do you think that these ethical concerns, the ethics themselves, are going to be redefined? Right. So these are my two questions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for the questions. So the first question is, what is there that ChatGPT or artificial intelligence does not have versus us, or what's the difference? So the difference is empathy, the difference is feelings, the difference is humanity, the difference is how we variate in feelings, in expressing things and all of those things. So if you ask, if there's a room full of, let's say, 40, 50 people sitting there, if I ask them, how are you feeling? I will get multiple kinds of responses. Some would say, I'm feeling tired. Some would say, I'm fine, I'm sleepy, I need chai, I need to go home, and things like this, right? So this is variability. But if you ask the same question to ChatGPT or any AI tool, it lacks emotions, it lacks feelings. It will say that I am an AI generated tool, I cannot feel about this, blah, 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 and I cannot tell you how I feel. So, and this is something that when you put in a question to Chat AI, and the output that you get, you feel that the output is not written by a human, because it lacks those linking sympathetic or emotions or feeling words, right? So this is something that Chat AI might not be able to cater to up till now, and I'm not sure. I'm sure that it might not be able to do later on as well, unless we put in the human brain there. The second answer to this is also the time taken for Chat AI to assess a task and revert back to it versus a human brain is hugely different. If I ask you to calculate 2 plus 2, you can do it after training in like 2 seconds. For Chat AI, I have to train it for 4-5 hours in order to get that correct. And then, of course, it might be able to generate the correct answer. Supercomputers, I think you must have heard about them. So supercomputers, one example is a super chess computer versus human chess and all of those things, right? So these are things, these are moves, these are critical things which are not, cannot be taken over by AI up till now. But if advancements are there, if there are many better predictions model there, then yes, maybe they can take this angle as well. But empathy, feeling, humanity, that's something that is missing from AI, which we have. I hope I answered your first question. And to answer your second question about ethics, yes, ethical norms might change. There could be flexibility in terms of using these tools. So initially, remember when the calculator was introduced, everyone said that it's going to take away intellectual, it's going to take away maths reasoning from us, our students. We'll go less intelligent and, ban this and ban that. This is exactly what is happening with AI as well right now. We are all sort of feeling the same fears in this way. But now it's ethical to use a calculator. In fact, we have everything in our mobile phones now. So ethics changed. It's not now considered as cheating, multiplying some things, versus when it was considered cheating, not doing mental maths, right? So yes, ethics rules might change. They may more later on, but it will take some time. As of now, as of currently speaking at this moment, there are certain rules and regulations, there are certain policies which are there we have to follow, such as non-plagiarism, not generating all the content from AI, just using it as an assistant, not using it as, generative or writing material or source in that kind of way, or not using it as a contract cheater. So for doing things or doing assignments per se. But as things evolve, as these tools gain traction, as the more usability is there, yes, probably then we might have different ethics and boundaries and acceptance there.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we are having few questions in the chat box.
So there is one which is saying, So being a prospective teacher, I have seen students who are blindly using AI for their task and other work. And sometimes they fail to present what they have brought in task. Absolutely. And here we have also seen this. So we gave an assignment to students in terms of solving a epidemiology or biostats course. So the students asked Chat AI to solve it. It did. They came back, presented it to us. When we asked conceptual questions, when we asked them logics, which I think one of the faculty sitting right there also said, okay, where's the intellectual, kind of critical thinking ability. So when we asked about how did you do this and why did you choose this particular formula to solve the equation rather than that, where there were two formulas available, you could easily identify the student who did it or learned things themselves, again, by using AI, but supplementing the information by using their own brains, versus those who just copy pasted and could not respond at all. So these are things, that's why we are always telling you to, you need to actually train your students how to use it. And before you train your students, you need to be trained how to best use all these AI tools. So if you focus on only generative AI, use them, assess them, look at the limitations, find the limitations, and then share those with your students and tell them to be very open, have a disclosure written in the assignment that this much percentage of work was actually done or help was taken for doing this much work through Chat AI or generative AI. This is what we've started doing. So you can also do that. Once the disclaimer is there, everything is perfectly fine.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have taken. Okay, we have another question here. Okay, no, it's just a thank.
Thank you. All
Okay.
right. Any more ideas that you guys have for using AI in assessment in English language?
Yes, ma'am. Can we have a mic?
Is there any tool that facilitate me in analyzing my data? I mean, from the perspective of research, and I'm agreed to make that tool as my co-author.
So again, a yes and no answer for this. Yes, if you're using Excel to put in your data, you might have observed that there's something called analyze data has popped up at the corner somewhere, which is a Copilot, which is an AI assisted analyze your data tool. So you can analyze it by using a Copilot in Excel. Microsoft has started doing this, and it will give you good graphics. It will give you good presentations. And you don't even have to write it because it's already available in Excel and it's an accepted version. So you can say data analysis was done in Microsoft Excel, right? So that's one which you can use. The other thing is that if, of course, since it will be our first time using that Copilot, we might not know how to use it correctly. So what I do is that I open any chatbot. I ask the chatbot, I need to analyze this. Tell me where to go and which prompt to put in Excel in order to get me this result. And then I do what it says. And sometimes I have to fine tweak it. But yes, Copilot from Excel can resolve this issue for you. And yeah, it will be already there in your methods section where you'll write data analysis and input was done through Microsoft Excel. All right, so there's another question saying, won't it create some security issue in future that we are providing our info, our thinking pattern, our language style? Won't be a security threat sometimes? Another interesting question. So security threat, yes, if you provide it all your basic details like CNIC numbers, bank details, passport IDs, and all of those things, yes, it will be a threat because all generative AI softwares have written a disclaimer saying that we will be using any of the information that you put in to train our GPTs. And if any of this is used for training, then perhaps data breach could happen. If you don't put all of these in, it doesn't matter what kind of language style you're using, what kind of language you're asking in, that's perfectly fine, because then it gives diversity. It gets rid of the bias of, not responding to the way that I want to respond to. This also brings me to another thing that we've been doing, and which is very, very common. So maybe you have a writing style. So you copy that writing style and put it on ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT or Bard or Bing to analyze the writing style. And then from future onwards, whatever conversation I am going to have, use the same writing style and give me responses in my style, or the style that I've given you, provided you above. So it will write in the same style that you are using it, right? It's the same as if you speak to it. Tell them, okay, if I'm speaking to it, you then continue speaking to me in the same language. Or maybe you speak to me as an expert, a professor in English or something like this. So that's how you can do that.
Okay, ma'am. So I hope Dr. Sadia has answered all the questions of online participants as well. So if you have any more question.
All right, there's another interesting question, but I don't have the answer for that. AI always fails. So if our research is off that, then it will not be. I'm sorry, I couldn't get the question. So is the question about that if you're doing research on AI and you find a negative result? I'm not sure if that's what the question is. I see. So if you're asking, yeah, of course. So if you're asking, for example, why is my meat not cooked to ChatGPT, of course it can't answer that. Why is your meat not cooked? Because it never cooked anything, right? So now I get the question. So yes, again, feeling empathy and not. Maybe if you ask somebody in this audience, they might take a guess and say, maybe because it was, a very novice cook started using it. Maybe because there was no gas available. Maybe because, we didn't give it enough time. The cooker wasn't working. So that's the difference again between generative AI versus a human being. So this question actually elaborates that very nicely.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed guest speaker for her enlightening and insightful discussion on the workshop centered around the transformative role of artificial intelligence and related technological advancements in education. Her thought-provoking insights have provided all participants with a profound understanding of how AI is shaping the future of education. So we are immensely grateful for her commitment and dedication in sharing her expertise and contribution to this international conference. Her contribution has truly enriched our gathering, and we are confident that the impact of this workshop will resonate far beyond these walls, inspiring educators and professionals worldwide. The session has now come to an end. Thank you to all the participants for your active engagement. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.
May I request for the certificate ceremony? लेकिन जो पार्टिस
All right, all the ladies and gentlemen, we are just waiting for the certificate award ceremony. So we are waiting for a few of the people who have to attend this session. Ladies and gentlemen, now we begin our Shields and Certificate Award ceremony. For that, I would like to request Dr. Farzana Masroor, Chair Department of English, to present shields to the session chair and certificates to the moderators. Please, ma'am. First the shields. And first shields, hai na? Okay, first of all, I would like to request Dr. Sham Heather from Yale University to kindly come forward to receive his shield and certificate. Mr. Ubaidullah Khan from Allama Iqbal Open University, Islamabad. Dr. Munir Khan from Allama Iqbal Open University, Islamabad. Dr. Azhar Habib from National University of Modern Languages. Now the certificates for the moderators. First of all, Misbah Abid. Ayman Noor. Umar Atiq. Raja Hasham Ahmed. Mubashir Altaf. And Tahreem Wali. Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. You can have your seats. Now, in the end, I believe that today's session of the conference, they were very informative, interesting, and have shed light on the complexities and promises of digitization in teaching and learning. We hope that it is through these sessions we can collectively shape the future of education, especially English language education, in the digital age. Now we look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow on the second day of the conference, Digitization of Teaching and Learning, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Until then, stay engaged and keep pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.